Hi. Hola.
Hi, here's Mr. Dozy.
This is Michael Bradley.
Hey, I'm Memphis.
Hey.
Hola. Hello.
I'm here with soccer.com.
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 And I'm talking with my friends soccer.com.
See you soon.
Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the CR7 Nike Mercurial Superfly 4 in the latest natural diamond colorway, also in the Soft Ground Pro variation. So inside the box, they do include a couple of extras to go along with the shoes. Given that this is an SG Pro model, they of course include a stud wrench because the metal studs are removable. Obviously, you use this to remove them as well as tighten the studs. They also include an extra set of studs that are 13 and 15 millimeters in length to go along with the 11 and 13 millimeter set already on the shoes. They also include, of course, a string bag, as you'll get with any top-end model from Nike. The string bag is royal blue in color with black strings. It features a sparkly silver Nike swoosh in the middle. It's got the pattern there in black that you'll also find on the shoes. And on the back, the pattern continues with the CR7 logo in silver down at the bottom. Other than that, all you're gonna find inside the box, as you guys can see, are the shoes themselves. So we'll get these guys out of the box really quickly, and we'll take a closer look at what is a very good looking colorway of the Superfly 4 that also happens to be a CR7 signature. Now keep in mind that this is a general release colorway, so unlike the last couple of CR7 colorways that we've seen after the release of the Savage Beauty ones, this is actually a general release. So it's available on the Superfly, in Soft Ground Pro, Firm Ground, as well as AG, and all the Mercurial models below the Superfly, the Vapor, the Veloce 2, the Victory 5, all of them will be available in this colorway as well. So it's not limited edition, keep that in mind. So in this video, we are of course going to take a closer look at the colorway itself because there are some very unique aspects of it, including this texturing on the heel, which we'll cover in detail in just a second. We're going to talk about performance, the weight of the shoe, talk about how these things fit and feel on feet, and essentially cover everything that you need to know about this new CR7 Natural Diamond Superfly 4. So if you're interested in learning more, please stick around and watch the entire video. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, be sure to check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you'll find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $310 retail price. Keep in mind these are a little bit more expensive, one, because it's a CR7 colorway, and two, because it's a Soft Ground Pro variation. So $25 premium for the colorway, and then a $10 premium for the Soft Ground Pro stud pattern. But again, Buy It Now links with SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick it up below that normal $310 retail. So if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's take a closer look at the colorway. Now this is Chapter 2, also known as the Natural Diamond colorway for the general release CR7 signature line. Chapter 1 was the previous Savage Beauty colorway, which essentially represented his upbringing, where he's from, his hometown of Madeira, which was represented with that volcanic graphic on the actual shoe. This time around with the Natural Diamond colorway, essentially what they were trying to represent in the form of the design, the texturing on the heel, is kind of his development as a professional soccer player, starting from basically nothing and building his way up to the point where you might consider him to be one of, if not the very best player in the world. So kind of a cool little backstory, or at least the backstory that they gave explaining the colorway itself. The texturing that you find on the heel is actually designed to look rocky and rough, kind of representing the path of kind of becoming one of, if not the best player in the world, depending on what your opinion is, of course. But really, really cool idea. The texturing, I know, is probably going to be the most controversial aspect of this colorway. Without it, I think most people would say this is the best CR7 colorway that we've had of the current generation of Mercurials, and perhaps ever, depending on what you really like. I'm a big fan of how this looks, but the texturing does add a different element to this particular colorway. It won't affect performance for those of you that will ask, so I'll say that right off the bat. Essentially, it spans the heel area of the shoe and then cuts off just before the midfoot on either side, as you guys can see. As far as how they managed to actually make the texturing there, I believe it's just an additive to the actual Nike skin covering. I'm not sure if it's an extra layer or they just kind of modified the standard texturing that would go on there, but it's far enough back and kind of in the hard heel area of the shoe anyways, so it's not something you're going to notice when you're actually wearing the shoes, and it's certainly not going to impact performance in any way. So if that's something that you were worried about, don't be. It's really just there as a visual design element, and like I said, won't have any impact on performance. As far as the actual colorway itself is concerned though, I really like the combination of this really bright kind of semi-metallic royal blue color that you have at the front. Really looks good, and then of course it eventually fades to kind of like a black pattern you find at the heel. It's a little bit difficult to see on the shoe, but it is printed on the insole, so I have that right here just so you can get a better look at that. It kind of looks like dried up, almost like a dried up desert ground or something like that. I think it's supposed to look like the aftermath of a volcano. I could be wrong on that. They never really specified what it's exactly supposed to be in the actual press release, but it definitely is a cool looking pattern. It's just, like I said, not as clear on the actual shoe. What you kind of see in person, especially from a distance, is a black heel that eventually fades to this royal blue that just looks really good. You have the metallic silver Nike swoosh at the front. That does have a little bit of sparkle added to it, which probably will wear off over time. They didn't really specify that in the box. There's no extra tags or anything like that, but it is something that you will immediately notice in person. And then you, of course, have that same glitter effect, basically the same color we saw on the silverware colorway in the CR7 collection, right here on the back of the heel. That's actually embossed within the actual texturing itself. So it's kind of imprinted in the shoe. Will that glitter wear off? It does have potential to, but it's in a spot that I don't think is going to be really impacted as far as making contact with the ball or making contact with the ground. So it should hold up relatively well. The exposed Flyknit, as you guys can see, is a combination of blue and black, which looks really good. You have that same combo in the laces, the blue ring around the top, the Mercurial branding going down the back in black, and then the Soleplate, straight up black carbon fiber, nothing too fancy there. And then that being that this is the Soft Ground Pro variation, it does have anodized blue studs that obviously match the rest of the shoe quite nicely. As far as the insole is concerned, I thought I'd go over that really quickly. You can see that it does actually have the name, which is kind of cool. It does say Chapter 2. Then it does say created to the exact specifications of Cristiano Ronaldo. And then you, of course, have the number 10. A lot of people get excited about this when they actually get the shoes. Every single shoe has this exact same insole with this exact same rectangle. They're not numbered, they're not limited. You don't actually have one that was designed specifically for Ronaldo. They just put that on there as part of his signature colorway. What the number 10 represents is that this is his 10th signature general release colorway for a Mercurial model. So the one before it, the Savage Beauty, had number 9, the one before that had number 8, so on and so forth. So that's what that actually means if you were at all wondering. But that's pretty much it as far as the colorway and all the details go. Let me know what you guys think of it down below in the comment section. Do you like how these look? Why or why not? Personally, this is my favorite of his signature colorways that have been released for this current generation of Mercurial. I'm not in love with the texturing on the upper, but I definitely don't think it looks bad either. But nonetheless, really big fan of the blue and black combo, and I just like how they look in general. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, good or bad. I'd love to hear them. And with that being said, let's move on to the tech specs so we can learn a little bit more about the overall performance. One thing I forgot to mention while talking about the colorway is that this particular colorway actually reminds me a lot of these. For those that don't know what these are, this is the CTR 360 Maestri 1 Elite. This one does have the carbon fiber sole plate, so it matches particularly well. It's not the exact same shade of blue, but as you guys can see, it is kind of a darker royal blue that has that semi-metallic finish to it, and then it does fade from black at the heel. So obviously not the exact same colorway, but something I thought looked pretty similar that you guys might want to see in the video. With that said, let's talk tech specs. Superfly 4, obviously it's been a very popular shoe up until this point. I know a lot of you guys are probably excited about the Superfly 5 that was recently unveiled, but won't be available until June 2nd. And I know a lot of the comments on this video will be, should I buy the Superfly 4 now or should I wait for the Superfly 5? I believe I have the answer to that question for you. If you guys want to check out the annotation on screen to my video talking about the Superfly 5, I answer it in that video and it'll give you more info on the Superfly 5 in general. So if you want to check that out, that annotation is on screen. And I'll also leave an annotation on screen to my playtest video of the Superfly 4 if you want to see these shoes in action and just want more details on the overall performance. So annotations to both of those videos will be on screen. Go ahead and check it out. What you basically need to know about this shoe is why you would buy it in the first place. And I think most people who are interested in these, they want 1, the Flyknit upper, 2, the mid-cut design, and 3, the carbon fiber Mercurial sole plate and stud pattern. So being that this is a Superfly and a Mercurial at that, it's obviously going to have a thin feel. It does have a full Flyknit construction, and the Flyknit in comparison to the Magista Obra is definitely thinner. It does provide more of a barefoot feel on the ball. But with that said, because it is a knitted material, it does have a very slight amount of padding to it, more so than something like a Nike Mercurial Vapor 10. So if you want the thinnest possible feel, the Vapor 10 is the way to go. Whereas if you want something that is going to be, I guess, a little bit more sock-like in terms of how it feels on your foot, the Superfly may be the better option for you. It just depends on what you like and what your preferences are. So with this upper, obviously very, very thin. It's reinforced with an internal fused-on support cage, and then you of course have Brio cables as well, which are very clear to see. It's within the actual Flyknit upper. They run from the base of the sole into the lacing system, so when you slide these on, pull the laces tight, your foot is locked in place very, very well, despite the upper being so thin and flexible. So that responsiveness that you get when pushing off from side to side, just making lateral movements in general. Like I said, it's one of the more responsive shoes on the market, which is a very good feature. Something that they have incorporated kind of newly on this particular colorway, not just on the Soft Ground Pro variation, but also on the Firm Ground model, is this little extra layer of Nike skin going around the toe box and forefoot area. You guys can see where it gets a little bit darker and a little bit more smooth. You can't see the texturing from the Flyknit anymore. It's just an extra layer there. So it's obviously some kind of reinforcement barrier to, I guess, increase the lifespan and durability of the shoe. We haven't seen it on previous colorways, and being that this is one of the later and last colorways of the Superfly 4 that we're likely going to see, it's interesting that they've made this change now. Will that impact durability? I would expect it to a certain extent. But overall, I wouldn't also expect these to be extremely durable in comparison to a regular Superfly 4. It's just a slight difference that they've incorporated that I thought was worth pointing out. It does have the Nike skin covering, of course. Again, like I mentioned earlier in the video, the texturing isn't really going to have an impact on touch. It's far enough back to where you're just not going to notice it at all. And the shoe does feature ACC all conditions control as your wet control element. The overall finish on the upper, though, is pretty smooth and really doesn't provide much in the way of extra grip. Laces run through the middle, as you guys can see. Elasticated Flyknit where the tongue would normally be, and then of course the collar is also made from a stretchy elasticated Flyknit. Now, with the mid-cut design, there are of course some misconceptions. A lot of people think that this is going to provide some kind of ankle support or stability. It doesn't. It's basically just a sock extension piece that does change how the shoe fits in the heel, something we'll talk about more a little bit later in the video. But basically the only thing that this is going to impact is 1, the way the shoe looks, and 2, kind of the way it feels on your foot in terms of how it flows from your leg onto your foot, giving a more, I guess, connected sensation to a certain extent. Again, no performance benefit to this, no ankle support, really not much in the way of extra protection other than just a thin layer of material either. So again, it's kind of something you have to live with if you want the Superfly 4, but just know that there isn't any benefit to actually having a mid-cut shoe over a more traditional low-cut shoe. Inside, you will find an internal heel counter. You do have a synthetic leather liner in there as well. The insole, fully removable, mesh liner on top, perforations throughout. It's just a single layer of this gray foam, nothing too fancy, but it does get the job done. And then moving on to the sole plate and stud pattern, being that this is a Superfly, it does of course have the carbon fiber sole plate, which I still make the argument is the best looking sole plate on the market. Performance-wise, not really too much different than anything else out there. It's stiff in the right places, it's flexible in the right places, and really there aren't any complaints to make about it. And then of course this is a Soft Ground Pro model, which is designed for soft, natural grass playing surfaces only. I get lots and lots of questions about Soft Ground Pro shoes. Yes, this does have the standard 6-stud soft ground layout, but it also has the molded studs in between. Now, the reasoning for the addition of the molded studs is mainly because a lot of professionals had it as an option a long time ago. People saw that professionals were wearing it, so they eventually made it available to the public. Is it actually that much better than just a standard soft ground 6-stud layout? The honest answer to that question, based on my personal experience, is no, the difference isn't that significant. The major thing that you're going to notice as a difference is when you're actually handling the ball with the bottom of your foot. Having the extra molded studs there just makes it feel a little bit more normal, a little bit more comfortable, and kind of more like a firm ground stud pattern. Does that mean that you can actually wear this on firm ground or even on artificial grass? I would not recommend it, especially on AG fields. A lot of people think that they can remove the studs completely and just play without them. That's a horrible idea. You're going to absolutely destroy your shoes, clogging up those inside parts with mud, and then there's pretty much no way to clean it out. And if you can't put the studs back in, the shoes are basically useless. Another thing a lot of people like to do is just use the shorter studs and think that they can get away with it. And the problem with this, and I've tried this myself, guys, this is not something I haven't really, not done myself, is when you actually wear something like this on harder ground that isn't actually soft, what you're going to find is the first couple of times it actually works out and feels okay. Are the studs a little bit too long? Yeah, but it's something that you can live with. But after 6, 7, 8, 10 hours of use, you'll find that you start to feel more and more stud pressure, and that's just because this soft ground screw-in point is not designed to handle a lot of pressure. When you're actually playing on legitimate soft ground, these studs are never really hitting the bottom, meaning that there's no pressure being applied to this little unit here that you actually screw the stud in. If pressure is constantly being applied by your studs hitting the bottom there, you're going to put a lot of extra stress on that, and eventually it's going to lead to some very, very bad stud pressure that you're not going to be able to fix. It's going to break down the shoe way, way, way more quickly than it otherwise would if you were just using them on soft ground like they were intended to be used. And then of course, there are safety issues with just wearing studs that are too long on a surface that doesn't have the depth to it. The reason why you wear a soft ground shoe is because the ground you're playing on is really soft and you need the longer stud to dig in a little bit deeper in order to have proper traction. If the studs are too long and don't have anywhere to actually dig in, there's going to be instability issues and you're putting yourself at risk for injury. So those are kind of the main reasons why you wouldn't want to wear a soft ground shoe on anything that isn't soft ground. I know not everybody will listen to me, but that is kind of the basic explanation on what you should know. So if you're playing on soft ground, these are great. They include the 11mm fronts and the 13mm rears standard on the shoe, and they also give you the extra set. So if you are playing on extremely soft ground, you can put those longer studs in and hopefully have better traction depending on what your needs are. So that's pretty much it as far as performance is concerned. The Superfly 4 is a great shoe, but I think everybody knows that at this point. As far as weight is concerned, the Superfly 4 is nice and light. With that being said, this is actually a Soft Ground Pro model, which is going to weigh more than the firm ground variation. That's not just the case for the Superfly, that's the case for any firm ground and soft ground shoe that is technically the same shoe. There's just more weight to a soft ground sole plate and stud pattern. So I'm going to weigh this pair for you today in real time using this scale. Keep in mind this is a brand new pair in a size 9 US. We're going to throw them on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 8.4 ounces, the equivalent of 238 grams. So in comparison to a Superfly 4 in the firm ground variation in the same size and condition, these weigh in at about 1.2 to 1.4 ounces more, which is not a lot of weight, but it is something that you will notice both in hand as well as on feet. With that being said, for an actual soft ground shoe, these are still very, very lightweight and certainly won't weigh you down. But again, for comparison's sake, while it even doesn't matter that much, a soft ground shoe will always weigh more than a firm ground model. But at the end of the day, it's really important. What's most important is what ground you're actually going to be using them on, because obviously having proper traction is going to be more important than an ounce or two on your feet. So another question I know some of you guys will ask is, does the actual texturing on the heel add to the weight of the shoe? No, it doesn't. It's such a minor element that, again, it's not something that's going to add any kind of significant amount of weight that you're going to be able to notice while you're playing in them. So regardless of whether you're buying the firm ground or soft ground model of this new natural diamond colorway, there really isn't going to be any kind of weight difference in comparison to a standard pair of Superfly 4s. All right, so here is a look at the Superflies on feet. On my left foot, I have the stock laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot, I have a pair of metallic silver reflective SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. You can find a direct link to that website down below in the description of this video. Now, in terms of how these things fit and feel on feet, obviously, they're still Superfly 4s, even though they do have some differences with the colorway and the texturing on the heel. But like I said, the fit and general construction of the shoe is the same. You're not going to notice a difference coming from previous colorways. Obviously, given that it's a Mercurial, it does have a tighter fit overall. So if you don't like tight fitting shoes, these probably aren't the best option for you. Obviously, because they are tighter fitting, they're not going to be particularly wide either. So if you have really wide feet, perhaps not the best option for you. When you really pull the laces tight, you feel the brio cables and the internal structures really grab your foot, hold it in place quite nicely, but there still is a nice level of flexibility to the upper, especially after a couple hours of wear time. The biggest thing that you're going to notice with any of the mid-cut models from Nike is the way they fit and feel in the heel. It can be a little bit stiff at first, and really it's important to break them in nice and slowly. Don't wear them straight into a game. Don't wear them straight into a free kick session. Just take things very, very light. As soon as you start to feel discomfort, take them off and just repeat that process until you can wear them comfortably for 2-3 hours at a time without any issues. Again, as long as you take your time with the break-in process, you shouldn't have too many problems. As far as the overall fit of the shoe is concerned, they do run true to size. I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. All right, guys, that's it for my review of the natural diamond Nike Mercurial Superfly 4 in the SG Pro variation. If you guys are interested in a pair of these for yourself, be sure to check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description of this video. On that page, you'll find high quality images of this exact pair that I took myself that'll give you a better idea as to how these actually do look in person, as well as buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes. We'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $310 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. If you have any questions at all regarding this particular shoe, leave them down below in the comments, and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.